Tonight, up first, we have got, I believe the first one is Robot Escape Room, and our lovely interviewers are Henry Stadolnik and Ichiro Lambe. So I'm going to hand the show over to them.
Let's just jump right in. I mean,
okay,
yeah.
Or should we introduce ourselves, or are we just going right?
Let's make it about them.
So I'm at the Nagy. I'm a double major in CS and IMGD, part of the Robot Escape Room team.
All right, awesome.
Can you tell us a little bit about the project?
So essentially, we were creating this framework for being able to, for future projects, to be able to iterate upon for a modular escape room that uses a robot that is teleoperated by a player. So they'll be able to control the robot remotely and be able to go through this like miniature. The robot's it's a miniature robot that goes through this this like wooden escape room that we constructed, and we did one iteration of this framework, but we kept in mind it being parts of the room, such as the walls or the puzzles and its contents being able to be easily interchanged.
Yeah. So one thing I know is...
No, I didn't want to step on you, please.
One thing I know is I really love the use of black light as a puzzle and clue discovery mechanic. That's just a really clever way to combine like technology with this. What all else can the robot do, and how did you decide on these features?
So the decision-making process itself was kind of complicated, but the robot also is equipped with a flashlight and an electromagnetic lift. So the primary use of that lift is for, we mostly did it with these blocks, the metal blocks that the robot would be able to pick up, and how the robot would end up using those blocks would vary. But essentially, the process for how we decide like what tools go in to give the robot is that we were trying to think of, we played escape rooms as a team together, and we were trying to brainstorm what we could implement to a robot that a player would be able to have control with. But we wanted to make sure that it wasn't really a puzzle room itself, but rather the challenge would be put onto the player instead. So the robot's functionalities wouldn't be robust, but that it would give them the tools necessary to be able to do different kinds of puzzles, essentially.
Sure. So like, I love the idea of control. I mean, the whole idea is great. I love the idea of manipulating the world through an avatar, as it will. And, you know, we've seen this in fiction. We've seen this in games in certain aspects. Like if anybody's played Suspended from 1983, an Infocom game created right out of Boston, Massachusetts, you played somebody who teleoperated robots. That was all in text, of course. And most recently, I think, I read Lock-In by John Scalzi, which, science fiction about somebody who operated a robot and manipulated the world through that robot. Can you tell us a little bit about, what was the inspiration, what were your influences, and what was the impetus for all of this?
I think one of probably the main inspiration was really the pandemic itself. Escape rooms were something that took a hit with the pandemic because being confined in a space was kind of uncomfortable for people during this time. So we thought of what if the person didn't need to be in that room, and essentially, we wanted to be able to have like a remote experience that people would be able to play and go through that still captures that same essence of an escape room.
Yeah, cool. So between the robot, the mechanized puzzle room, and the interdisciplinary nature of the project, there seem to be a lot of moving parts here. What was the biggest challenge you had to overcome in making it and make them all work together?
Oh, I think it was a lot of there's this like big tug and pull that we kind of had when it came to even figuring out what the robot would be able to do, because puzzles would have to be based on the capabilities of the robot. Well, the robot, like we had to know like what kind of puzzles did we want to do with the robot. So there was this kind of tug and pull of like what were we physically able to do with the robot and what kind of puzzles we needed to design for it. So they kind of like both needed each other. So they're very like a close relationship with what kind of puzzles we wanted to create with what the robot could physically do. So that was definitely, I think that was definitely one of the biggest challenges for that.
So, and piggybacking on on Henry's question, in any project, you have to leave some stuff on the table. Let's say that we were to give you another year, and there's no pressure here to work on it. What did you leave on the table that you would like to do?
There's quite a lot of things actually. I could go on for a bit, but there was definitely some things that, first of all, the room ended up being a smaller experience than we would have liked. There was puzzles that we didn't get to explore. I would have liked to have been able to create a larger experience itself. Some other things as well is that while escape rooms are usually cooperative, we really only had time to build one robot, and essentially, we would love to be able to explore how the dynamic between two robots and what kind of different interactions you could have in a room like that. One of our inspirations was Portal, and that would have been really cool to be able to kind of delve into like how you have different robots in a room kind of solve different puzzles and work together. That's something that we would have liked to be able to get to.
Yeah, definitely very cool. That was largely what my next question was going to be too, actually. So you've talked about this product design is going to be carried on by future teams. What do you anticipate them needing to deal with next, or like what do you think like the next steps here are?
So we kind of laid out a couple different ideas. It's up to the future team which decision they end up going with. One of the ideas, of course, is that there's essentially kind of like two paths that this project could end up going into. It could remain a more player-focused experience, and so the kinds of escape puzzles and the experience itself would get built up. It would be a longer experience, and the kind of puzzles that are created, there would be just a wider variety of them. The other direction would be if this would become more of a puzzle room, and for AI to take a very prominent focus in making a robot be able to solve these puzzles on its own, in which case that would also change what kind of puzzles are being done. One would be a player-focused experience, another one would be more of an AI solving puzzles experience.
All right. I'm not sure how much time we have left here. I'm assuming we have time for at least one more question. Big project, big accomplishment. Favorite moment? What's your biggest takeaway?
Biggest takeaway? I actually have never worked with creating escape room puzzles before, and this was something that was really cool to be able to explore. That was something that I always thought it was interesting, escape rooms themselves as a concept, and I'd never designed puzzles for them before, so it was a lot of research and collaborating with other people to get ideas, and also field research itself, going to escape rooms, kind of seeing escape rooms in this different light, and being able to kind of analyze and break down, like get ideas essentially for what kind of puzzles are interesting to do, or what things to avoid to make it a better experience for the players. So I think that's probably my favorite takeaway, is just the experience from being able to work in a field that I had never really worked in before.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much.